Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is top books of 2022 so far. So I'm recording this right at the end of the 6th month, so it's pretty much bang on halfway through the year. And I have got my top 10 for you. I have got an honourable mention to mention first, and they're not in a specific order, but I do have a top 3 that are really close together as being my favourites for the year so far. So yeah, I really love all of these books. I think I had a really great start to the year. A lot of these top 3 books already, I can tell you, were in the first month of the year, and ones that are really special. Now, I'm getting a bit fussier at the moment. It takes a lot more to get me a 5-star. I'm also not including books in the series in this, but I will be doing, what I might do at the end of the year will be doing a top series of the year, because I'm deliberately reading about 4 or 5 series this year. So what I might do is I might rank those series. What do you think? Hopefully that'll be a good idea. So I will talk about these books and talk about why they're so special. Unfortunately, I've not got any classics in this top 10, which is a really big rarity. But I am hoping that with Victober coming up, obviously in October, and Jane Austen in July, but I'm not having any classics. I'm having a real classic slump at the moment. So please, guys, recommend me some good classics that will get me, because none have had my heart yet. So anyway, I'm playing my hair again. Why do I always do this? Anyway, so my honourable mention is a book that I can't officially count in my top 10 because it's not been published yet, and apparently it's going to be edited, but it is Royally Doris by the lovely Charles Heathcote. I was lucky enough to receive a proof copy of this. I beta read it, so he's edited it since then, so I know that it's got a potential to be even better than that. But it was 5 stars. It was such an amazing book, and when the copy comes out, I will be shouting it on my channel when the final copy comes out, because I would say this book alone, before I even did anything to it or edited it, it was amazing, because it made me cry, it made me laugh, it was people I loved, characters that I loved, and I will always support Charles Heathcote. He's amazing. So yeah, that's my honourable mention. Now, the next 7 books are not in specific order, but they are all books that have jumped out at me and really special to me. The first one was a book I read in January, and that is Us Three by Ruth Jones. Now, her second book I didn't like as much. I am buying the 3rd book, but I don't know if I'm now going to wait till it comes out in paper, because I didn't like her second book, her first book. But this Us Three was absolutely incredible. It's about 3 friends. Now, my sister's part of a 3 friendship group. She's got her and 2 of her best friends have been best friends since they were at school. And I think that was probably why I wanted to pick this up. And I buddy read it at the start of the year with my sister Charlie from Charlie Brooke. And it's incredible. It's like, they're 8 years old when they meet. 3 best friends, Lana, Judith and Catherine, share an oath on a curly-whirly wrapper that they'll always be there for each other. Us 3, come what may. For years they keep this promise, but then something happens and the promise kind of gets broken a little bit. But it is so incredibly written. Their friendships are amazing. It's so real to life. It is very emotional, very hard-hitting, and I absolutely loved it. And it's one that I will shout out till the cows come home. These top 10 books I've kept, so that tells you how much I love them. You know what I'm like with my keepy books. Now, the next one was actually Sarah Walter's first book, and that is very rare, because all our other books I've rated like 4 stars, and I've enjoyed them, but this one was absolutely incredible. And the lovely Gemma from Reader Book Gem gave me this copy, and it's a beautiful copy, but this is actually her first book, and by far, in my eyes, it's her best. When is she going to write another one? Come on, she hasn't published another one for ages. But this is Tipping the Velvet, and it's basically set in Victorian London, from the oyster huts of Whitstable to the music halls of Victorian London. Tipping Velvet is the first novel from this much loved author, and it is LGBTQI+, it is amazing, it's Victorian, the settings are amazing, the picture, it's sexy, it's raunchy, it's bloody, seriously, like, you guys know what I'm like, but this is serious, some serious raunch in this. Very saucy, so go into this be aware that you're going to get more sex scenes and blooming you can shake your finger at. But it's really good, it's well written characters. I absolutely love Nan King. She was one of the best books. It is just amazing, it's hard-hitting, it's brilliant, it's just fan-flipping-toesy. I'm actually going to reread that at some point. Now, the first of my contemporaries, I think I've actually only got 2 contemporaries in this, and the rest are all historical fiction. What is going on with me? Yeah, no, there's 3 contemporaries in this whole pile. What is going on with me this year? And I think that's because contemporaries for me have to really stand out, have to really like beat the living daylights out of you, because to me classics can be kind of contemporaries can kind of be hit and miss. But this one is by one of my new favourite authors, and this is by Heidi Swain. This is The Summer Fair. This is, I think, the 5th in the series, in the Nightingale Square series. I got sent a copy by the lovely guys at Tandem, and Tandem have given me some amazing read-alongs this year. Like, I would shout out them. Go onto Instagram and check them out, because their read-alongs are amazing. But this one really stood out to me, and I think the reason why is because we've got Beth, who loves her job working at a care home, and it tackles grief. It's the 5th in the series and by far the best, so I can't really talk too much about it. But I've gone back to Nightingale Square. She's sharing a house with the lovely Eli, and it's about community and friendships, and oh, I loved it. I loved the fact that we've got the older protagonists. I loved the fact we've got people in this of all different ages. And I love Beth. She was a brilliantly well-rounded character, someone that had really been hit by grief, and she'd sort of changed things. And I loved it. I love it. I love it. I love contemporaries. I would say Heidi Swain is brilliant. I would say start off at the first book in the series and then carry on going, because it is just absolutely incredible. I love all her books, and I'm going to carry on. What was the first in the series? The first in the series are Sunshine and Sweet Peas in Nightingale Square. That's my second favourite. Then we got Peppy's Recipe for Life. Loved that. Didn't like The Winter Garden as much, but I love this. I've got all of her books to check out, and I loved it. She's also a really nice author. And then a book that I got given for my birthday from Gemma, and one that's recently a contemporary, and this is the 3rd in the Kiss Quotation series. I think it's not so much a series, because they're all 3 books can be read standalone, but this is incredible. This has amazing autism rep, like it's done so well. A woman struggling with burnout leads to embrace the unexpected, and the man she enlists to help her is in this heartfelt romance. Again, a book with so much sauce in it you can shake your finger at. It's like blooming amazingly saucy. But it's got great autism, it's just amazing. Tattooed motorcycle riding Quan Diep. He sounds so sexy. I think about motorcycle riding bikes. And they attempt to have this one-night stand, and it doesn't quite go to plan. And when tragedy strikes in Anna's family, she takes on the role that threatens to destroy her. And I just love it. I love the family aspect in this. I love the rep. I love the sauciness. I love all of it. And it's a brilliant, brilliant book. And I would shout out to everybody. Now, another one of my January books, and this is Hamlet by Maggie O'Farrell. Now, you guys know Maggie O'Farrell can be very hit and miss for me. I've loved some of her books and not loved all of them. I am. I didn't like very much. What other books has she written? I love it when I can see all the books at the top of the page, but I don't think this is. But this is a retelling of Hamlet. And oh my goodness, right, yeah, here we go. So we've got her books. I've read so many of her books. I read the Heatwave, Instructions for Heatwave. I loved. This I loved. This must be the place. Vanishing Act of Esme and Lennox. I loved that as well. So I'm doing really well with her books, but this is incredible. I love the Shakespeare. I love the way Shakespeare's not actually mentioned his name. His name is not mentioned in this, but it's more a story of Hamlet, the character, so that's Shakespeare's son. But Shakespeare's wife is actually the most prominent person in this. And then you've also got Hamlet's sisters and Agnes is written so well. There's different timelines in this. It's brilliantly well written. It is so grabbing. It's one that I cannot wait to reread. I'm so grateful. I think my sister got me this. And this is just incredible. I loved it. And a book that I read that I spoke to loads. Now, you guys know that Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was one of my favourite books of last year. This has potential. No, it's not in my top 3, which is quite surprising. Quite surprised it's not in my top 3, but then my top 3 are very hard. So this is Madisonville Verizon, set in Malibu. It centres around the 3 siblings of Nina River and her 4 siblings. So she's got 2 sisters and 2 brothers. No, she's got a sister and 2 brothers. And this is this is the famous River siblings. They're all very, very different, very individual. And they've got Nina, who's a talented surfer and a supermodel. Brothers Jay and Hud, Now one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister Kit. Also, all 5 siblings are the children of the legendary singer Mick River. I don't know how to say it. And we've got their timeline of one night, and then it goes backwards and forwards to their timeline, their family timeline. and that's done really well. So most of it's sort of you've got obviously the timeline, the current timeline that's set over 24 hours, and then you've got the timeline of the family and how the family got together and what happened. And this is really a story of like an unforgettable family, and it's done so well. And like, oh, look at this gorgeous copy. I love this copy of it. I think about my hardbacks now, which I didn't really think, but then I've got to be really careful. Otherwise, anyway, I love this. I love this historical fiction. Taylor Jenkins Reid writes amazing books, and I thoroughly love them. Really enjoyed every second of this and thought it was a brilliant book. Now, my top 3. One of them you would only just seen in my wrap-up part 2 for July. So if you haven't, June, sorry. So if you haven't read that, one of them was June. So that's a sneaky peek. And one of them was January. Now, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. They're all historical fiction. But what books do you think are going to be in my top 3 of the year so far? Let me know down below. I am wondering, I would say in this top 10, I don't know how many of them will go into the top 10 of the year so far. But in these top 3, I'm guessing they will be. I really can't decide in this top 3 of what book is number 1, what is number 2, and what is number 3. But actually, I'm thinking the order that I put them in kind of actually does make sense. So I'm actually going to rank them. So my 3rd favourite book of the year so far. But again, these top 3, I think it could be interchangeable as to which one is 1, 2 and 3. They could swap around places many times, but at the moment they're in the order. So the top number 3 is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I've already read this with the lovely Danny from Danny's Book World, and I loved it. It is very hard-hitting. I cried throughout. I flew through the end of it. It's set in the Dust Bowl of 1934 when it's obviously... Oh, it's just amazing. It does make you cry, and it's the story of Elsa Martini, who, in the start of 1934, she finally found the family she's yearned for, a family at home, a livelihood on the farm of the Great Plains. And then when the drought threatens all that she and her family hold dear, Elsa's world is shattered to the winds. Fearful of the future, Elsa is forced to make the hardest decision: fight for the land she loves or take her beloved children west to California. This is amazing. This is set in the Great Depression in America, which I didn't know much about, and set in the Dust Bowl, and that's considered the world's worst environmental disaster in American history. It's about strength and resilience of women, and you guys know I've got a thing about female protagonists, and this is really shouts that out so well. I think it's an incredible book, and one I thoroughly loved, and I know that it will be in the top 10 of my year so far. It is very close certainly between this and the second place book. Birds are noisy today. It's really very noisy. Right, so this is the second place, and this is a book that I literally only just read at the end of June. It was technically a buddy with Danny from Danny's Book World, but it wasn't, but I read it my own. It's Stacey Hall's most recent book. It's now out in paperback, and I stupidly did not wait, like, I think a month after I bought it in hardback, it came out in paperback, which annoyed the hell out of me, because I paid more for it. But look at this. I actually don't regret it, because, to be honest, the hardback is stunning. The end page is stunning. It's got beautiful, it's the most beautiful book, like, cover. See what the end pages on the other side are, but look, it's just stunning. So, this is the most stunning book. Now, you all know, those of you that have been on my channel a long time, that The Familiars was my favourite book of 2019, I think. It was one of my favourite books of 2019. Didn't like The Founding quite as much. Felt a little bit disappointed by Stacey Hall's second book. So I was nervous as I've spoken about in one of my most recent videos about hot books that had hype. This one had a hell of a lot of hype. Katie from Books and Things has raved about it. It was one of her favourite books, and I was petrified whether I would like it or not like it. And I can safely say I absolutely loved it. I thought it was one of her best works. It's right up there with The Familiars. Like, even though I've only just read it, I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I just don't want to think. There's no such thing as a perfect family. It's set in West Yorkshire in 1904, and the newly graduated nurse Ruby May takes a position looking after the children of Charles and Lily in England, who are wealthy couples from a powerful dynasty of mill owners. And she's isolated up there, and Mrs. England is very elusive. She's very shy, and it's like Mr. England has taken charge of the nursery, taken charge of everything. But Nursemaid really does sense that there is so much more to this. Now, she has secrets of her own, which are written really well into this, so I didn't know that. It's a historical fiction, but it's also got a real mystery element of it, and I think that's done so well. The family are really well portrayed. The England family have got 4 children, each of whom are very different, and I love the youngest, Charlie. Like, I love the baby in this. It's so cute, and it's just so good, like watching Ruby bond with the family and watching her grow and watching her wanting to find out what happened to the family. It's exciting and it's thrilling and it's just bloody brilliant. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I could not stop thinking about it. Just flew through it in the end. Did not want to put it down. It was incredible. Now for my favourite book of the year so far. I think most people are going to predict this. This is Chuggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. I've already read this at the start of the year with Amy and Ange, and it has set me on fire. It is a book that I cannot stop thinking about. It is Chuggy Bane's character. This was, again, it's set in the early 80s in Glasgow. Now, again, I just read the next book, Young Mungo, and I didn't like that anywhere near as much, because even though this is hard-hitting, it's hard-hitting in a way that it's got, to me, it had characters that I loved, and yes, there was some hard-hitting bits. There's quite a few triggers which you do need to be aware of going into it. But it's done really well, and there are some lighter elements in this, so it isn't all darkness. And even though I shouldn't like Agnes Bane, Chuggy's mother, I did, and I felt protective of her, and I didn't want to. I didn't like his older sister, I did like his older brother, but I love Chuggy's character. I think he was well portrayed, it was done really well. Yes, it's hard-hitting, yes, it's realistic. From what I spoke to Ange and Amy about, it is very hard-hitting, but it's done really well. And like, Agnes has got alcoholism. Alcoholism is tackled in this. But again, it's just a brilliant book, and it's one that will always stay with me. It's one I'm going to reread. It's one I definitely think everyone should read. It won the Booker Prize in 2020, and I think it really deserved it then, and it really does deserve all the credit. Yes, I'm gutted I didn't like Young Mungo anywhere near as much as that, but that one to me is one I want to reread. It's hard hitting, but like I said, it's done brilliantly. The characters, ones you love, you don't want to love them. You're not supposed to love Agnes. Like, you're supposed to get annoyed at her the way she treats her son. But I did love her. I got annoyed at her still, but I did love her because she wanted to get better. So yeah, it's a really good book. Anyway, guys, what was your favourite book of the year so far? What's been your tell me some of your favourites. Tell me some of the classics that I should pick up, because there's no bloody classics in this. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, subscribe it, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.